Very warm greetings to all of you. For me, a rare occasion. And I think we ever remember. I have before me those brilliant minds who have contributed to the nation, shaped the destiny for 3.5 decades or more. I have had the occasion that the affirmative test of the power of bureaucracy when I was elected to Parliament in 1989 and had the occasion to be a minister at a junior level. I got the first-hand experience of commitment, dedication, and far-sightedness of Indian bureaucracy acting in that position. I was extremely lucky also for the reason that the cabinet secretary then and secretary of my own ministry happened to be district magistrates of my district. So that was the first brush I got. And I can assure you, the world governance has not seen such a repository of merit, dedication, and directional approach. This got a cutting edge in 2019 when I had the good fortune to hold the constitutional office of Governor of State of West Bengal. Then I got all assistance which possibly could be conceived to be upright from Mr. Satish Tiwari. He then was Secretary of the Government. He could negotiate rough, tough curves by balancing between the constitutional head and the executive head. I still remember when I got his call, and I had not seen him physically or virtually, that he would always be available to guide and assist me. But he is very keen for his tennis games. Such honest, forthright indication from the secretary, the governor. I can tell you, and I can say with pride, irrespective of the narrative that was afloat, Mr. Tiwari did not create a single situation in my functioning as Governor of State of West Bengal where I would have second thought even now. And that is the impression with all concerned after I have demitted office. Another great luck that I had was that Mr. Tiwari passed on the baton to Mr. Sunil Gupta, an equally brilliant man, IIT Kanpur being his alma mater, and he brought on the table the same experience and sublimity as with Mr. Tiwari. With both of them, while discharging the most onerous and difficult duties as Governor of State of West Bengal, I can tell you, I would ever cherish their contributions in shaping me and in shaping the relationship of the constitutional head with the executive head. With a high degree of satisfaction after I have demitted office, both at my end and at the end of the executive office. Another gentleman who is present in the audience, his cadre is Rajasthan, a brilliant man, Mr. Pandey, and very brilliant I had the occasion to appear against him in a court of law. And trust me, my respect for him has ever gone higher. I was wizened in less than 48 hours from very well-meaning quarters that this man has never tripped from ethical path and path of development. This is a great tribute. I do not know personally the rest of you, but I know of you because to engage in due diligence and to be involved is a weakness I have inherited and continue to be guided by my wife, that always make it a point to ensure that we get fully involved in all that we do. Before I really go to the issue, I must express a deep sense of gratitude on my behalf and on behalf of my wife, Dr. Sudesh Dhankad, to Vinita ji and Madhu ji. They were spinal strength to Tiwari ji and Sunil ji. Finest ladies who have shaped their families in a manner that exemplifies virtuosity, that exemplifies cultural sublimity. And when there were occasions, both of them came to my rescue. You know it. It is very difficult to deal with this tribe on some occasions. It is satisfying to associate with the release of the book, Reflections on India's Public Policies. The book lives up to its title. Insightful and analytical discourse by 10 esteemed distinguished IAS officers of 1984 batch, seasoned policy makers and executors, bears out their contributions, rich exposure and experience as also concern in the largest democratic governance, now home to 1/6 of humanity. You are aware more than I am that evolution of public policies since independence has been marked with focus on, I am going by time zones, survival, stability, self-sufficiency, and securing equitable growth. In recent years, there has been significant qualitative shift resulting in realization of phenomenal growth. A spectacular and dramatic emergence of governance ecosystem in last few years has turned out to be a game changer, with visionary initiatives and policies of the Prime Minister catalyzing wholesome environment, making India a favored global destination of investment and opportunity. Series of affirmative governance steps in last few years have enabled the steel frame, the bureaucracy, significant play in the joints, enhancing its contribution capacity. Incorporation of Section 17A, to which I made reference when I addressed civil servants on Civil Services Day, in the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 in 2018, is a step in the right direction. It now regulates investigation of issues as regards the recommendations made or decisions taken by public servant in discharge of official functions and duties by providing prior approval of the concerned authority for investigation. Extra legal leveraging in power corridors. And who knows it more than you all? Extra legal leveraging in power corridors has been a real concern and pain to the Indian bureaucracy. giving a perception on occasions of its vulnerability. And that I am telling, extra legal leveraging in power corridors that plagued the system for decades is now a matter of the past. As power corridors now stand sanitized of this menace, this has enhanced bureaucratic efficiency and productivity. Governance model with focus on less government, more governance, transparency, accountability, digitization, innovation, and entrepreneurship is envy of the world. I'll pause here for a moment. When this morning I devoted considerable time in focusing on various articles, trust me, I was enlightened. A thought occurred to me that Niti Aayog should focus on it without delay, as thoughts and ideas emanate from those who are insiders impacting outsiders. Zero tolerance for corruption, and you know, is a ground reality, with none being above or beyond the reach of law. This has come to be stabilized, a historic development in our societal behavior and governance. With steadfast and visionary leadership and stable governance at the helm, I say stable governance because in 1989 to 91, when I was associated with governance in some way, a party that was in power was a group of more than a dozen parties. And the country thereafter had coalition governance for nearly 3 decades, till we had one party majority in 2014. With the steadfast and visionary leadership and stable governance at the helm, there is the emergence of a wholesome ecosystem in recent years, enabling unleashing of bureaucratic prowess in expeditious execution of policies. In this stressed global economic scenario, India is the fastest growing economy with inflation under control. Recent news about level of inflation is all the more soothing. Now the 5th largest economy on the planet, we are on way to becoming the 3rd largest economy by turn of the decade, and there is no doubt about it. This upward surge, thanks to bureaucratic commitment and steadfast visionary political leadership, will sure help India, our Bharat, to realize its due place in 2047, when the nation will be celebrating centenary of its independence. Empowerment and upliftment of vulnerable sections has been effected with successful schemes like Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Ayushman Bharat, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and Ujjwala Yojana, ensuring that even the most marginalized sections of our citizens have access to essential services. This remarkable accomplishment is due to the commitment and delivery effected by the civil servants, led by most of you at the relevant time. Civil servants, they are the backbone of governance. They play a fundamental role in implementation of government policies. I have always held the belief that delivery mechanism of our civil servants is unparalleled in the world, unless they are made to drag their feet on account of political agitations. I can assure you, for the last few years, the political tentative hesitation approach is no longer in existence. And this has resulted in incremental contribution of the bureaucracy to the growth trajectory of this nation. When we look around and go to the globe, people greatly appreciate that visionary steps taken by the Indian Prime Minister are being translated into ground reality and the credit goes to the bureaucracy and such like senior leaders in bureaucracy as you, a group of 10, represent. Digital payment transactions amounted in 2022 to a figure of 1.5 trillion US dollars. If I compute in terms of other global economies, this is 4 times in the same time zone of the transactions effected by US, UK, Germany, and France. What could not be a dream a few years ago is a ground reality recognized and acknowledged by all, thanks to bureaucracy and the leadership of senior bureaucrats that is available to the largest democracy. Laudable role has been played by civil service at all levels in the country in fight against COVID-19, setting a new global benchmark. Which country on the planet can claim to have made available digitally on phones certificates of 2,220 crore people? No country can claim that distinction. Our country has done it. This is on account of successful involvement of the people by the bureaucracy in realizing this. The ethos of civil service in India is founded upon the principles of impartiality, excellence, and professionalism. I reflected in the Civil Services Day address your qualifications, your caliber, your competence entitles you to make manifold fiscal gains outside, which some of your peers are making. But the satisfaction which you get by serving the humanity at large, changing lives of 1.4 billion people, is not available to them. And therefore, normally it is expected that after one demits office, one must give back to the society. You do it every day while being in service and thereafter. Civil servants must commit to serve the nation with pride, and that is what they are doing. Others need to emulate their mechanism. By pride, I mean public service without personal biases. I pause here for a moment to indicate our bureaucratic system has checks and balances that ensures such kind of functioning. And observance and adherence to this scrupulous mechanism is nearly 100%. Rule of law implemented at grass levels, integrity in dealing with the public, devotion to duty, and efficiency in achieving policy targets. Democratic governance poses challenges, and those challenges are unique, and those challenges have to be dealt with. In this difficult situation, civil servants have to exhibit, and they have exhibited, unwavering and steadfast commitment to rule of law and constitution. There can be no alibi or worrisome political ingratiation of officials with the ruling dispensation in some parts of the country, severely straining the sublimity of federalism. This calls for systemic focus by all concerned. I am very particular about it. Ingratiation of the bureaucracy with political masters in a state is generated by compulsive ecosystem. And that compulsive ecosystem can never be overtaken or combated by an individual officer. That can be antidoted and neutralized only by systemic working. I am sure this batch or some other batch will focus primarily on this aspect also. Because political ingratiation of bureaucracy is not only antithetical to democratic governance, but it eats into the system, impedes growth, shakes confidence of the people, and also compromises a sense of Indian constitution, that is federalism. India's vision for 2047 is rightly ambitious, far-reaching, but thanks to bureaucracy and our human resource, and the right policies that we have in place at the moment, it is achievable, reflecting the country's aspirations to be a leading global power in the 21st century with focus on sustainable growth, social inclusion, and technological advancement. All these aspects, which are essential for any good governance, which are reflected in our 5,000-year civilization ethos, are being realized on the ground at the moment. We are on the right track, and the world is acknowledging it. Civil servants are primarily architects of good policies, visionary policies, and if a proof of that is required, one has to go through this book. The kind of effort that has gone therein, the kind of suggestions that have been made, kind of situations that have been faced, kind of resolutions that have been suggested, and that is required if our nation has to serve the humanity at large, which we are destined to. Soothing to note that experienced senior civil servants have colleagues to share their wisdom experience in the book Reflections on India's Public Policy. I have no doubt this is a testament to the power of collective effort and cooperation. Shailendra Joshi has been credited by Tiwari for it. The applause that attended it, I can compliment him for doing a tough job. To get support from others is easy. To get cooperation from others is easy. But to get cooperation from batchmates is a tough challenge. The book, by those with decades of immersive involvement with governance, has been structured in a truly holistic manner, encompassing all the critical domains of development governance for the nation, ranging from public finance to health, education. Tiwari could never get out of that syndrome. He always recollected education. Gupta ji would always remember handling elections. Though handling elections, and 3 of them in West Bengal, is an experience worthy to be reflected in a book. Energy security to agriculture, rural industrialization. This compendium is indeed a highly effective repository of vast experience that you have gathered in nearly 4 decades of public service. While navigating the rough waters of administration, and your rough waters are sometimes generated by forces that are supposed to help you, forces that are supposed to play a affirmative role. You have done it in difficult situations and achieved great success. The distinguished contributors have revealed challenges personally encountered between policy making and policy implementation. I narrated one incident both to Tiwari ji and Gupta ji. That incident is quoted in a state. The top minister called the Revenue Board chairman and Revenue Secretary, spell out what is your job and what is my job. So the chairman board of Revenue and the Revenue Secretary said, Honorable Minister, your job is to lay down policies, and our job is to help you evolve those policies but execute them. And the minister, being a practical politician, said, our jobs are now reversed. You do it. I'll get them executed. Choose the people who the Tahsildar will be, who the SDM will be, who the collector will be. All the challenges you have faced. You have tried to bridge government's vision and people's perception to achieve the spirit of citizen-centric governance. After all, in democratic governance, citizen-centric situation is not option. It is must. Well, some reflections from me also have to emanate. Retired civil servants, unique, valuable national human resource, must exemplify concern for the nation rather than fall prey to partisan stance. And this they should do by overplacing interest of the nation first. I would elaborate. Retired civil servants are a formidable class, very formidable. It is eminently positioned to neutralize and antidote false and anti-national narrative from within and without, seeking to unjustifiably tainting and tarnishing our constitutional institutions and democratic values. Trust me, the role of retired civil servants in nation building is very significant. They are reservoir of talent, experience, and know what is best for the nation. They would always speak their mind by analyzing these false narratives from a position of strength, and they will do it out of conviction. The book undoubtedly will serve as a valuable resource for policymakers, academicians, and students interested in public policy. The chairman Rajya Sabha will ensure it has wider dissemination. As chairman Rajya Sabha, I would make it a point to make the book available to chairman of the various standing committees so that they can go to the book with respect to the domain they are dealing with. And that I am sure will turn out to be extremely rewarding and enlightening for the chairman of the standing committees and the members. The book offers a unique perspective on challenges and opportunities facing our nation. And the book doesn't end here. It does provide a roadmap for creating a more equitable and prosperous future for our all Indians. In this treatise, and I have no doubt this treatise will for sure put the reader in reflective mode. I had this experience this morning and deserves to be on everybody's bedside. The book is a peep into the working of the largest democracy on the planet, home to 1/6 of humanity. The authors have gone beyond scratching the surface. As a matter of fact, after going through their labored, erudite discourse, they have delved deep into the issues while reflecting. A must-read for those who visualize exquisite India being a global leader in the near future. I must express a deep sense of gratitude to Tiwari for having picked me up for this occasion, which will be there in my mind indelibly as long as I am on the planet. Once again, I express my gratitude to all of you and the publisher for having brought the book in such good shape. Thank you. Jai Hind.